Alright, I wonder what Spore has in store for us for today's video. Nope. Spore has a new calamity, which means it's time to make a new showcase about the 4 past updates on the fungal infection Spore. If you want to know more about the other updates before that, I have a playlist of all the showcase I've did, and I'm not gonna do a full one covering the whole mod, not until the Matriarch update drops. So with that out of the way, let's look at all the new features that these update brought. First of all, let's look at the changes. There are 2 new effects. The Biled effect, which, well, we'll talk about overlays later. Give you 20% reduced speed, 20% reduced damage, and 20% reduced attack speed, as well as doing some damage. An infected can now receive a new effect called Frostbite. So instead of doing damage, the CDU will now give Frostbite to all nearby infected, and some of them are more resistant than other. There we go, he has Frostbite and he's just running away. But not only from the CDU, they will get it from a charged PCI and from any cold biome. The Frostbite is stackable, doing more and more damage to the target. If you wear a full living armor, you will also get the Frostbite effect. And finally, about the Frostbite, infected that are affected by Frostbite will have their evolution timer completely stopped, meaning no evolution in a cold biome. And finally, as you probably noticed, there are some overlays. This is the Madness overlay you see right now. You saw the Bile earlier, and there is the Mycelium Infection overlay. Now, let's look at the new blocks that these update brought. First of all, there's 2 new tech blocks, the Shattered Halogen Light and the Halogen Light, and if powered with redstone, at least a not shattered one, will emit light. They are supposed to be craftable, but I guess for now, the crafting recipe doesn't work, but it's noted like this on the wiki. Now, for the Spore block, we have the Explosive Lump, which does what the name implies. We have the Fungal Clamp, which shot on you and act like a cobweb but dealing an insane amount of damage and giving you mycelium infection. And the last one can only be found in water. It is the Polluant Lump, which gives you corrosion and poison. I actually need to be in survival. Not sure how often they spew their polluant, but I managed to make it work before, but for now it is not dealing any damage to me. I'm unsure why. Now let's look at the new items that the update offer. First of all, the Fungal Bone Meal. To craft the bone meal, you need some bloom mycelium and some bone meal, and it's gonna give you, well, fungal bone meal. And it's pretty simple. It spreads the infection. I feel like I'm gonna use that a lot. Anyway, it works on pretty much any block that can be infected, and will just spread an area just like you would be a mound puffing around. Next, we have the Toxic Terrorizer and the Concentrated Toxin Vial. To craft the Toxic Terrorizer, which is a gun, by the way, if you didn't notice, you need a lot of stuff. Rotten blood sample, some terrestrial reforged biomass, so you need to kill Calamity to get these stuff, like the Airborne one, Skull Soup, Voracious Regent, as well as some Stitches, Hardening Regent, Refining Regent, and then you get the Toxic Terrorizer. So this gun excels best against hordes via AoE status effect. You left click to shoot a ball of concentrated gas that, upon coming in contact with desired target, will spread negative effect to nearby enemies, causing them to rot. And it uses Concentrated Toxin Vial as ammunition. And to make Concentrated Toxin Vial, you need alveolic sac with 3 glass bottle, giving you 3 of the Toxin Vial. So this is a gas shooter that just decimates the mass, with a pretty sick look. Seems like it inflicts weakness and wither, which is probably arguably right now the best thing against From Another World, but that's for another video. Now, before moving on to the new mobs, there are 4 mobs that received a ton of new variants. So first of all, let's look at the Protector. So right here, right off the bat, we got a Thorn Bloom Protector. And the Thorn Bloom Protector will give weakness and poison for 10 seconds to target that hits its shield. It hit just Pearl? This is the Bulwark Protector. This one is a bit bigger in size, and their armor is increased by 30%, and they have more knockback resistance, meaning they can't be knocked back by normal attack. This is the Collector Protector. The Collector Protector will search for containers in a big area to steal armor, weapons, and food. For every piece of armor they steal, they're gonna gain more armor. For every weapon, they're gonna gain more damage. And then we'll search for allies and give them bonus to their allies, making the tank also a support. Now, moving on to the Studded Protector, they will deal way more damage when bashing a target, also dealing a lot of knockback and inflicting slowness for 5 seconds. They also have a Thorn effect reflecting 10% of the damage, but this only works when hitting their shield. Now, moving on to the Gargoyle. This is the Madcap Gargoyle variant. They deal 50% more damage when they smash down. They also create an explosion, but will lose health when attacking. Once they reach 25% HP, they will stop slamming down, because they don't want to die, and they will just melee their target. The Ichor Gargoyle constantly drip bile particles. They fly lower than other gargoyle variant. Instead of slamming, they hover above their target and give the bile effect to whatever is beneath them. Now this is the Blooming Gargoyle. These ones fly 50% slower, but give poison 2 for 20 seconds to all targets in range of the gargoyle. And finally, there is the Valkyrie Gargoyle, which is a bit bigger than the previous ones. They have twice the amount of armor, and instead of slamming, they will quickly fly down to their target in a similar fashion, and once doing, they will switch to melee damage for 4 seconds before flying back in the sky. 20% of the damage from the Valkyrie Gargoyle goes through armor, meaning they ignore it. Now let's move on to the Chemist. This is the Chemist variant. This is the Mechanic Chemist variant that will shoot tar, we'll talk about tar later, at their target, igniting them if possible. This is the Pyrochemist, which will deal a lot of fire damage and ignite any tar block that will be in its vicinity. There's also a 50% chance that an acid ball projectile is also shot from its gun instead of just tar and fire. This is the Ember Chemist. When they have a target, they will just set that target on fire. Come on! Anyway, they will set this target on fire and the range increase depending on the time it's spent chasing its target to a maximum of 10 block range. If it loses a target, the range will shrink. And finally, we have the Spreader Chemist. When hit, they will burst clouds of spore, and this burst grant fire resistance to all spore mobs within 8 block range. And finally, there's the Verdatorn, and this is the Laced Verdatorn. And these inflict corrosion and poison for 10 seconds when they are damaged by their thorn. If this Verdatorn is eaten by a womb, it will give the Calamity the toxicity attribute. The Cactus Verdatorn reflect 100% of the damage instead of only 40%. The Roller Verdatorn, that's the funniest thing I've seen in this mod, when having a target at least 10 blocks away will, well, roll to its target. But while rolling, they take 50% less damage and deal 3.5 damage to nearby target, as well as inflicting slowness 2 for 2 seconds. And finally, the Skewerer version of the Verdatorn is capable of shooting thorn out of its body, dealing damage to all mobs around them. They have a total of 57 thorn that they can shoot, so it's only when they take damage that this shoots out of their body. And as you can see, you can visually see the amount of thorn reducing from its body, but 1 thorn is regenerated every second. So that was all the variant of these mobs. Let's look at the new mobs. That's not a worm, that's a drill. First of all, we have the Gorgon, which is kinda blind. It uses sound and smell to locate target, but if you go in water, it will lose you. They will build toxic points every 5 tick, and they can have a max of 10.1, and after a while, they will shoot their toxin in a cloud just like that to their target. They cannot shoot underwater, and they will stop following you if you go underwater. Next, we have a new hyper evolve called the Hodenhund. This mob goes most of the time underground and will actually just dig and have its claw poking out, dealing damage to whatever is above its claw. You can see like slightly the claws here with the blocks breaking. It's so fast, holy. This is the evolution of the Yakun. When burrowed, they are actually invulnerable to all damage. I can see right now the arrow is absolutely tweaking. And when burrowed, it has a 1% chance to enter its range attack mode. And if it does, it will dig very quickly behind a mob and attack it instantly with bile projectile. And when it attacks physically, there is a 25% that every attack will bury its target in the ground relatively to the target's hitbox. It died. So the bigger the entity, the further down they're gonna be buried. And finally, the meat of this video, or the meat or the fungus, the new Calamity mob, which is a bit complicated. I'm gonna try my best to explain everything that it does to the best of my ability, but oh god, I'm gonna butcher this name. This is the Verfaldrake, I think. It's a dragon, completely. It's like a mix of a wither and a dragon. This thing has 3 heads with 3 distinct attack pattern. The left one will emit a scream just like a warden, dealing a less damage than the warden, but ignoring armor and resistance. The middle one will shoot tar. And now it's time to talk about tar. Let's just go in survival to... Well, okay, let's talk about the lightning one. So, as you can see right now, the right one is going to shoot lightning at you and every single target in its vicinity. But the tar one will shoot tar block that will make you ignitable. Okay, I just need to make myself invincible. Okay, here we go. There we go. Now I have the ignitable effect. And if I step in these blocks, I will also get the ignitable effect for a longer time. This one also has an overlay. And if I get hit by the lightning of this thing, well, I will be set on fire, obviously. It is an airborne calamity. And its attack pattern is actually just to fly around you and shoot you down. It is one of the most terrifying calamity that this mod has done for now. Until we see the matriarch, and if you shoot down its wing, I need to, okay, the hitbox is kind of weird. Ow. If you shoot down the wing, there we go, we got it. It's gonna drop some wing membrane and stop flying entirely, which I don't think it's a good thing right now. Ah! Each head has a separate hitbox that you can actually, there we go, cut down like this. And if the Calamity mob reach 100 health back, the 100% I mean. Oh my god, it's so fast. It is going to regrow its head back or its wing back. And if you shoot down all of the head, which I will do in a moment once I stop just being moved around. This sniper seems like the best solution to killing this thing. It one-shotted the head. Oh my god, I just can't aim. All right, you can aim. Forgot about that. There we go. I'm not sure how you're supposed to fight this normally without exploding instantly, but there we go. We got another head. Why is damage tilt even a thing? It's so annoying. Okay, here we go. I can aim now. No, not now. Not now. Okay, I got a head, and it killed the body. If it regenerated but still lose its head without going to 100%, okay, I need to go in creative. The body will still exist without its head, but will only do simple melee attack without anything more. You can actually zoom in this side. I believe the heads are still alive, and yep, there we go. The head can still attack you if you don't get rid of them. This is the most awesome and complicated mob I've seen in this mod, and in a lot of mods, in fact, not just this mod. I feel like surviving is gonna be a nightmare, but if you build your base way high up, you're gonna be greeted by this. Or a Hindenburg. The Verfalldrache probably can do more than that, and we didn't even talk about the womb adaptability that gains like toxicity stuff when produced by a womb. So this is not even the final form of this mob. So good luck surviving that. At least we have guns now. They deal percentage damage to these giant mobs. I can't wait to see the matriarch. It's gonna be awesome. So make sure you subscribe for the next showcase. And as always, you're awesome. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.